Greetings, beloveds. Welcome to week 7 or maybe 6 of Bible in 100 Days. We are happy to be together in this journey, and we have now completed 1st and 2nd Kings. I wanted to take some time today to talk about sort of why I arranged the readings in the order that they are, because we're about to go what it feels like, perhaps, if you're looking at a contemporary Christian Bible. It's going to feel a bit like we're going out of order all of a sudden, and we're not. I want to explain why. But before I do, I want you to take note of this beautiful art by our beloved Jaleh, art of Jaleh. She does some beautiful, wonderful stuff, and we are privileged to have some pieces here in our library. It's about community, right? It's about what it looks like to be people of God together. When I put together the order of the readings, it was with some intentionality around grouping the parts of the Bible that we were going to read as they're collected together by our Jewish siblings. This is my Tanukh. It's in English, but in this, the Hebrew scripture is listed by certain groups. First part of the Hebrew scripture is known as the Torah. Right? The Torah is the 5 books of Moses, right? And so we began with Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Remembering Deuteronomy ended with those speeches from Moses, right? Like he just kept going on and on and on. The next section, which is where we are right now, is known as the prophets. There's the major prophets and the minor prophets. And in the Hebrew scripture, it's called Nevi'im, and that includes Joshua, Judges, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Those are your major prophets. Then we're going to move into minor prophets. So, and the last section of the Hebrew scriptures, we've got the minor writings. So in your contemporary Christian Bible, 1st and 2nd Chronicles is probably about to pop up, or we just passed it, right? And that is actually a writing. And when we get to the writings, we'll talk a little bit more about what those writings mean. But I want to talk today about what it means to be reading and hearing these texts that we've been listening to thus far as prophetic words. How are these things that we're listening to and reading bringing to us the words of the prophet, or bringing to life the messages of the prophet? Joshua's word was, God was speaking to Joshua and telling Joshua this is what will happen, and then it would happen. In Judges, God told the people, you're going to do this, and then this is going to happen, right? And so there was a lot of those pieces. Second, in Samuel, the prophet that we actually hear about is Samuel. In Kings, we begin to hear that there are many more prophets and other prophets, and we mostly hear about Elijah and Elisha by name. Towards the end of 2nd Kings, if you were paying attention, you heard the words from Isaiah. And that's the next major prophet we're about to move into. So what I'm encouraging us to think about as we listen to and reflect on 1st and 2nd Kings, where 1st and 2nd Samuel gave us a lens to see God at work in particular individuals, Samuel, Saul, and David. Kings kind of runs through all of them, and we still see sort of the people did this, then they disobeyed. The kings were worse than the last one. This king was worse than the last one, and this king was worse than the last one. And God's getting angrier and angrier and angrier and angrier, and the people are falling away until we get to Hezekiah. And Hezekiah is faithful and wonderful and follows God's laws and tears down all the other temples and puts an end to the idol worship, and God is pleased. And still, even Hezekiah is consumed with a bit of greed And because of the systems that have been around him, I think, still stuck in an understanding of like he can buy his way out of anything, right? Buys his way out of a war and achieves peace for people. So there is this, how is God functioning? But most important in it is to hear the prophet said this, and then it happened. And so the two scrolls of Kings provide us an opportunity to hear, this is what God said, and this is what God did. This is what God said, and this is what God did. And then God said this all the way back here, and God gave them this chance, and 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 this chance. But God had already said that this was going to be it. That was it. We're not going to happen. I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm done. Fit up. And here it is. And now it's happening, and it's happening, and it's happening, and it's happening. And we're about to move into this age of Israel where it feels like God has forgotten them. And the legacy of the kings is the reason why, right? It is the story of why God turns from them and lets them experience the brokenness and the separation and the incredible downfall that they experience, the exile that they're going to experience. And so for me, that's a helpful frame, and I hope that it's helpful for you. And happy Pride, beloveds.